YouTube just made it easier to look successful and twice as hard to get paid. In the next 6 months, YouTube is making two massive changes onto how monetization works. The first rule they're changing has actually already happened a few days ago, and that is how a view counts for long-form videos going forward. The second rule that they're changing is in about 6 months, in February 2027, they are doubling the amount of watch hours needed from 4,000 to 8,000 to get monetized for long-form videos. If you put those two things together, you're going to realize it's easier than ever to look successful, but it's going to be twice as hard to actually get paid. And there's exactly one skill or metric that we've been kind of preaching in all of our recent videos that will tackle both of these new rule changes. And we've got receipts that we'll show you right now. So let's jump into the first rule change real quick. How this used to work was a view for long form videos used to take about 30 seconds of watching to count as a view. Now, the moment someone clicks on top of your video, that will now count as a view. It counts the same for a long form video as it does for a short form video. With our current estimations, we're seeing that you're probably going to have about a 30% increase in views. So again, you're going to look that much more successful, yet you're only going to get paid on what was those engaged views still, right? Those engaged views where people actually hang around for a little bit and watch what you actually have to say. From our understanding, this new rule applies for new videos after August 24th, 2026. So if you have old videos, you will still have your old engaged views and all of that type of metrics. For the new videos, you will start to see this inflated view count. But again, engaged views are what matters. The second rule change, we actually already did a video on. If you guys want to see a more in-depth video on that, please take a look at our in our ContentFold library. You'll see it right there. It's the 8,000 hour monetization rule that we had achieved in about 6 weeks once the new rule was announced. With that said, to cover it very quickly, long form views are going to go from 4,000 watch hours to 8,000 watch hours. Short views are going to go from 10 million to 20 million. For the long form views, those 8,000 hours will be over 365 days, where the short form of 20 million views will be over 90 days, if I'm not mistaken. And the most important thing, if you guys don't want to go back and watch this other video that we have, is if you get in before February 1st, 2027, you are grandfathered into the 4,000 hour rule. All right. So now is the time to make a YouTube channel, make your YouTube content to try to get that push in before they literally double the hours on top of you. So right now is kind of that, mad dash towards the finish line to get in before February 1st, 2027, because if you are in before then, you're grandfathered in at 4,000 hours. If you don't make that time by February 1st of next year, it will become 8,000 hours, literally twice as hard until you get monetized. So really, the gap between kind of YouTube famous and making money on YouTube is really going to get to the widest we've ever seen it. At least this is kind of our prediction, where you're increasing the view counts and you're doubling the amount of hours to get paid, right? The trap we want to warn everyone about here at ContentFold is we could see a lot of creators chasing that new high of the new inflated view count numbers while getting paid almost nothing, right? We could see a lot of people chasing, my views used to get 1,000 views and now I'm getting 5,000 views. Look how much better I am. Or a 10,000 view video, I'm now getting 15,000 views, but they're actually making less money, right? Because everyone is clicking off before 15 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever that watch time is, going down drastically. Comparing older channels, comparing even last month's videos, all of that is going to basically be broken from how YouTube used to count a long form view to how YouTube will count a long form view going forward. And so because of that, right now is really, if you think about it, the cleanest point to start from now to that February 1st rush to try to get grandfathered in, because everyone going forward at this point will be on the same playing field again. As we've been harping on this whole video, rule change number 1 is obviously the view starts from the moment they click on it and start watching, and the monetization is watch hours, obviously. So whether that doubles in February 1st or you're still at the 4,000 hours now, the biggest two things is there is a single gateway to both the click and the view and the watch time. And again, if you haven't seen any of our videos, there's a very simple chain to earn money that we talk about using YouTube. It is impressions times the click-through rate times the engaged watch time is your watch hours. All right. So if you have 100,000 impressions at a 10% click-through rate and the person averages 5 minutes watch time per it, you multiply all that together and you will get your watch hours that you're actually going to get paid for from YouTube. The click is the front door to both of those paths. And I feel I need to repeat that just so everyone understands. Your thumbnail title, that very first reason to get them to click is the path to the view, which is going to be inflated going forward, but still very nice vanity metrics. And that thumbnail sales, same thing. They click and that's your chance to hook them and get the watch hours and get paid from YouTube. Either way, they go through the same front door. Let's take a look at a couple simple numbers. If you have an impression click-through rating for your thumbnail of under 1%, with the new rules, it might take you a decade to get monetized. Putting out a video every single week, I still don't know if a decade would be enough to get monetized with the 8,000 watch hours that YouTube will be requiring soon. Receipt number 2. Here's a video that had about a 6% click-through rating and hit almost the entire 8,000 watch hours in a single video compared to under 1%. Receipt number 3. Let's take a look at this video that was by far the worst video, had less watch time, less likes, less comments, but had a 12% click-through rating. And that got 20 times the views of older, better videos that we had that lost that very first step. Receipt number 4. Look at over 700,000 impressions that YouTube had gave this video because we kept getting a high click-through rating and the watch time was decent enough that YouTube kept pushing it out to a bigger and bigger audience. Let's take a look at one last receipt. A part 1 of the 10 countries in 60 days and a part 2 of 10 countries in 60 days. Same exact content, shot in the same exact location. The biggest difference is one had a thumbnail that got a 2.8% click-through rating and the other had a thumbnail that had over 11% click-through rating. Look at the view difference in just these two videos about the same exact topic, shot in the same exact location with the same exact camera, with the same amount of editing, same amount of effort put in. This is the point that we're trying to preach here at ContentFold, especially with these new rules going forward. If you win the first click, you will get the view and you get the inflated stats and all those types of things that YouTube is giving people now. And if you win that click, you have the chance of getting more watch time, getting engaged viewers, earning more money with YouTube as well. The biggest thing is it boils down to this very first step that everyone seems to be overlooking right now. Starting with the title, as you can see, there's multiple options to choose from for every single video that you upload into ContentFold. These are all rated based on all the data that we've gathered from not only YouTube, our users, research done by bigger companies than ourselves on how to make a title as clickable as possible. And you will have, I think, about 9 options to choose from. They all have a score. You can choose whatever you want. You can even write your own title if you wish to do that. But based on that title, we'll then actually work together with the thumbnails we're going to show you after this. This is a look inside of ContentFold. This is some of the multiple thumbnail options that you guys can have. We personally split test every single one. You do not have to, but even starting with a solid thumbnail here will put you ahead of majority of YouTube creators right now. In general, these 3 thumbnails that you're looking at, the high energy, the, I guess, normal one, and then the cinematic one, those 3 thumbnails in general tend to get a minimum of a 3 to 6% click-through rating. Some do go underneath it, which is why the split test is required. Others will go as high as 11%, as you guys have seen inside some of our other screenshots in this video. But to start off, you have to win this very first step right here. Once you win that first step, we do want to say it is on top of you as the creator to make sure that you're, maybe you have a good hook. Maybe you're making sure that you have a loop. Maybe you make sure the structure and the pacing is working well. We're going to do a video next week on this to try to help people out, making sure that they keep people engaged. They keep people staying as long as possible throughout their videos to, 1, You already earned the click. You did the hard part and earned the click. Now you have to create decent content to make sure people are watching so that you can get paid from YouTube. Please make sure to check your analytics on top of all of this. The advanced weekly settings should still have the engaged views, which is how you're going to get paid. And last but not least, I'm sorry for kind of, hitting you over the head with a stick with this. Please remember February 1st, 2027, that is when the new monetization rules go into effect. Since this new view count has already went into effect, in about 6 months, the monetization does go into effect, and we want to make sure everyone is pushing to get monetized on the old 4,000 hour grandfathered in before you kind of hit that wall, and that wall literally moves twice as far away. YouTube didn't just change 2 rules. It split the scoreboard and the check kind of into further apart than before, right? And the one thing that connects both of those pathways, the views and the monetization, is that click-through rating, is those thumbnails, is that title, is winning that very first step. As I mentioned in our next video, we'll try and talk a little bit more about making sure you get, after you win that very first step, keeping people engaged and watching a little bit longer than previous videos that you put out. And I'd like to say in the next 30 days, we're going to run a new kind of test, trying to show with the new view count that YouTube is doing, showing how inflated those views are on top of our new videos. 2, showing the difference between the YouTube views that YouTube is putting out publicly versus the engaged views from the back end of our YouTube channel. And if you want to see how fake, I guess, the new view counts are, check into our next video and we'll kind of give you an idea of where we stand.